At the beginning of 2020, COVID-19 wreaked havoc, sending the whole world into a lockdown. The global economy slowly shut down, with businesses closing operations. These economic challenges did not spare the media industry, and at the time when the public needed information, journalists were either laid off or they are working in very hard conditions. The newspaper industry itself faced an almost sudden inhalation due to lockdown and social distancing as revenues went lower. The economic stress aside, an already struggling media landscape was also hit by a second virus accompanying COVID-19, the infodemic, which manifested itself in form of fake news, misinformation, and disinformation. And as an organization that is very passionate about keeping journalism alive, we went out to document the impact of COVID-19 to the media industry in Uganda. This very video you're watching is part of a 12-part series featuring media managers answering some of the questions that you'll be watching. Enjoy.
In general, all media houses were affected, one way or the other, especially financially, logistic-wise, operations. So many things happened in the time of COVID that had actually affected the media houses. You would notice that we had to start beginning to fetch and drop off all the workers. The curfew time was actually brought in earlier, and that had a huge impact on our news time, on our shows that we were doing in the evening. But as Record, we anticipated, we prepared ourselves before time. We knew that there was going to be a lockdown, so we had a lot of meetings and we prepared so that everybody's ready. I'm really thankful that the team worked together in Record to ensure that we curb a lot of challenges like logistics. Media houses were affected in terms of a lot of clients pulled off, and that became a huge setback for us as media houses. But in terms of operations, we were prepared. We prepared ourselves like soldiers. We had our logistics. We could drop off our workers. And in general, yes, we were affected.
I think that one of the quickest impacts that it has is that it's democratized news sourcing. Previously, news was really much officialdom. What the pandemic gave us was a chance to go into our communities and tell stories from our communities, because our reporters couldn't come to office and go back home in time. So we were asking them to stay at home and work from home. And that allowed us to get a lot of community news stories coming to the TV screen.
Nkulamusiza nnyabo, amanya gange bampita Jackson nga nkola n'Ekira FM. Olunaku olwaleero tukyaddeko gy'oli. Okuwuliriza olunaku olwaleero yandiyagadde ategeere ekirwadde kino ekya COVID-19 kikozezza kitya bizinensi yo nga ggwe omutunzi.
I think that the other thing that it has also offered us is introspection as the media. We've been running a media model economically that doesn't work, and it's been said that the media is dying all around, all across the world, and the pandemic has offered us that time to introspect and say, is this a news model that we can work with? Maybe we need to change our models. Maybe we need to do something different. And that's now what we're working on, being able to deliver content to people faster and quicker and in the ways in which that they appreciate it. But also I think that the pandemic has offered us a chance to hold government to account. Previously, the interaction between government and the newsrooms was once a month, twice a month at most. Now, because of the pandemic, we have almost a daily interaction with government agencies, and holding them to account is one of those things that the media is doing currently.
I think there's never been a difficult moment for the media and a very trying moment for the media like COVID, because it is a pandemic that is so unique, very complex, that transcends across the world. So from a media perspective, we have been affected, no doubt about it. Some of the effects have been positive, majority have been negative. If you look at, for example, the anxiety that journalists have gone through, especially covering stories. I'm talking about the early stages of COVID. There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of unknowns. So certainly their mental health wasn't, spared. And I believe that so many are still going through the rigors of the fear of covering a story because you don't know what's going to happen. So there have been effects, of course, on how you report. I mean, imagine how interviews have been done with the fear of not contracting COVID. So you had to learn how to conduct an interview, keeping social distance, and making sure that you don't only protect yourself, but also protect others. So the method of work has also been affected. You had to be extra careful. You had to sanitize. You have to put on a mask all the time. Certainly it slows you down, the effectiveness of a journalist.
Uganda Radio Network is funded by the Democratic Governance Facility. So I would say we don't have that direct feel of our incomes have either gone up or down. So that question doesn't really apply to the network. In terms of content, we had more stories because we had to cover all the facets of the pandemic, to cover it, how it's affecting the transport sector, how it's affecting medics, how it affected schools. So we had really more stories coming in. We cover all sectors, including health. It's one of the key sectors we cover. But this time we had more health-related stories coming in compared to the other, other sectors. So that's in terms of content, we had more to talk about, we had more to write about, we had more to learn.